Fantasy Football Tips Podcast with Mills, JP, Quigliarno, and Cliff.
Hi, you're listening to FantasyFootballTips.co, the podcast in association with Premier Punt, the home of daily fantasy football betting. I am joined this week for Game Week 11 by Quigliarno and Clifford. How are you, gents?
Fantastic.
I'm good, thanks, Mills.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've had three of us on a podcast together. It's been getting quite cosy over the last few weeks.
Well, I know you were saying off air before we added Cliff to the call that you'd kind of been getting a bit bored with him. So I suppose, yeah, it's good to be back, the three of us, I guess.
It is. You say I'm getting bored of Cliff, but he's got a mega fan on Twitter in Conor McGregor FPL. He just simply tweeted us today saying, "We love Cliff." And I do actually think this is the same person, Quigliarno, who gave you a bit of grief a few weeks ago.
Well, I mean, I'm pleased for Cliff. I mean, if you're saying "we love Cliff," I mean, that's something his parents haven't said to him for a few years. So that's great. Positive news for one of our podcasters.
Any words for Conor McGregor, Cliff?
We love you too, Conor McGregor. We love you too.
Why?
Are you more than one person, Cliff?
No.
Old Schmeagol and Gollum over here.
We as in the FPL source.
But he called you out personally, mate.
But
Apparently he called me a posh swear word, which I can't repeat. But
oh yeah, so okay, I love you too, Conor McGregor.
But you know, it's not really Conor McGregor. It's just somebody pretending to be Conor McGregor, which again raises some issues about this guy. But
201 followers, so
we had a bit of beef a while ago and we settled it. So let's not open another can of worms.
Okay, it's all water under the bridge. Quigliarno, you weren't too happy with Cliff's tips last week. I think
You'll have to refresh my memory, mate. It literally. I listened to this podcast for once. And yeah, I can't remember though. It was so forgettable.
I think it was the fact that he'd copied one of your tips from the week before with
the long shot,
Siggy, was it? Yeah,
it was, mate. Yeah, plagiarism. I'll be in touch with authorities regarding that, but less said about it at the minute. It's an ongoing court case. So
I mean, he did get the assist, so fair enough, Cliff. He did do an admirable job, really, on the standing in on the tips there. I think, apart from the copycat, apart from that, I think he did pretty well.
Well, he did also. I'm getting flashbacks now. It's coming back to me. He talked about saying that for him, you don't need Aguero.
Mm.
I mean, he did sort of sit on that fence really well, because then he said, "But would you be surprised to see him score a couple of goals?" Well, he did go and score a couple of goals. You can't play the game without Aguero. Get your head round that. Anyone who questions it, delete your team, and then we'll just have everyone with Aguero in.
Yeah,
and we can just carry on as is.
And again, Cliff, you've got some fans, but Alex Hack was not happy. He tweeted us saying, "No, listen to FPL_the source and uncaptain Sergio." So you negatively impacted on a few people there.
I apologise. I did the same. I decided to captain Troy Deeney instead of Sergio. Cost me about 14 points. So I apologise to all the fans that listened to my advice on the Sergio. But hopefully you listened and got the Gary of the week, Lukaku. Got a goal and assist in the team. So we'll look at the positive, Mills.
I mean, it was hard not to pick some winning tips last week. There was so many top performing players last week. Although, Cliff, you did seem to be outscored by the worst player in our personal mini league. So, a good friend of ours in the Middle East, and he doesn't even look at his team, does he? But you still lost to him.
It was the captain choice. Let's be honest.
So good, he said it 3 times.
You didn't triple captain him, did you?
No. I wish I did.
I mean, I'm just going to say, I speak to Cliff on a regular basis. and I never hear him sound this nervous in my life. I just don't get where this tension and anxiety comes from.
I mean, Quigliano, last week I had to do a serious editing job on the podcast because every time we had a little break, he was expletives all over the place. He was so stressed.
I'm not even stressed. I'm just literally standing here talking over the phone.
At least you're standing there this week and not lying down, which is what happened in Podcast Extra last week.
Why aren't you sitting down? Why are you standing?
I just stood up and did something, but that's it. I'm sitting back down now.
What are you doing, standing up?
Should we do some tips, actually? I'm just thinking about.
Shall we get on to tips?
We're going to do a new feature, and it's called standing up or sitting down, where you've got to send in each minute is Cliff stood up or sat down, and it's £500 for everyone who gets it right.
You're paying that then, Quigliano. Let's get on with some tips here. Let's go, Quigliano. I think I'm coming to you, am I, with the Gary of the week?
You are, mate. I mean, there's no need to get. Just tell me who the Gary of the week is, Mills. You know.
Well, it's got to be Sergio Aguero. It's
got to be Aguero. Okay, you've obviously got him in your team, unless you are. No, I'm not going to go rude. Everyone should have him in your team. If you haven't, you have to put him back in. They've got Middlesbrough. Just got Cliff breathing heavy down the phone like Darth Vader.
I really am intrigued what he's doing standing up now.
I don't know what you're on about. I've got an echo every time Quigliano speaks at the minute.
I think it's you, Cliff. But anyway, let's carry on. Technical issues aside.
So I mean, you can't ignore that fixture. I think City always look like they're going to score goals, and he's the best goal scorer in the league. He is world class. I think just always captain Aguero. That was the overriding factor. I was switching between Sanchez and Aguero last week. Couldn't make my mind up. And I just said to myself, as long as I captain Aguero, I can leave the weekend happy because I did the right thing. And it paid off. It
It did. And I think the match in midweek against Barcelona sort of goes even further to sort of backing up the Man City shout as well. And I think you'll find that almost everyone who has Aguero will captain him this week.
There you go then. It's more of a shield this week than a sword, but just enjoy having Aguero in your life and the fact that you don't have to make decisions about captains. So Gary of the week, the long shot here, sticking my neck out, which I'm not afraid to do. I'm going to predict the return to form of Jamie Vardy, and he is going to get a goal this weekend.
That is a very bold shout.
It is called the long shot. You know, if you're trying to steal a yard, have you got the guts to put in Jamie Vardy?
Well, that's it. I mean, I haven't, if I'm being honest with you. Cliff, thoughts on that?
I think it is a long shot, but the man scored goals last season, so there's no reason to not be back in form at some point this season. So he's got a home fixture. Let's
remind ourselves about Harry Kane. He went about this long last season, blank after blank, and then Quigliano called him out. I put him in my team, and he scored a hat-trick. So, I mean, it's up to you. It's in the water. I'm feeling it. He goes to Watford after that game, after the game next week, and then he also has Middlesbrough after that. So, I mean, it might even be a decent point. They've got Sunderland after that. So,
listening to the all-new FantasyFootballTips.co podcast.
Referring to the God complex again there. I like it. So, see if the prophecy comes true. And where are we going with the Delia, Quigliano?
Cliff has asked me this one. He's already mentioned his name. Cliff, who's the Delia?
The Delia's Troy Deeney. Where are you?
You didn't say it like that earlier, Cliff.
Yeah, there's a few swear words earlier. I got a bit stitched up last week. It flashed up on my mobile. Goal, Watford, Troy Deeney. I got a bit excited as I captained him, and only for Quigliano to text me saying it was it a Dawson own goal?
It was a Dawson own goal, mate. Troy Dawson.
And I don't think you weren't the only person, Cliff, were you, to get upset by that? I think, was it FPL Fly? He's threatened to quit, hasn't he, as a result of this?
Yeah, he has. We looked on his Twitter. He said he's giving up over it, which FPL not only took the goal away from him in the end, they took the assist off him. So they give him an assist, which kind of dampened the blow, but then took that off him in the end. So nothing for Troy Deeney other than the 2 points.
It did literally send FPL Fly mad because he put his Twitter account up for sale for £7,500, which who's going to pay that? But anyway,
annoying that we've offered Ace. How did we end up doing that?
A pound a follower. Anyway, so I think that's a decent shout, Quigliano. He should have done better last week, particularly, and he's against that Liverpool defence this week, and. You look at it and you think he's got to score, but we'll see. We will see.
On to side tips then, mate. Yeah?
Let's do it.
Going for the obvious ones first. There's a bandwagon happening at Chelsea, and it involves Hazard and Costa. You've got Costa as one booking away from a suspension. Mills, do you want to apologise for that mistake you made a while ago?
I thought I'd got away with that. Yeah, I did get called out on that. It's a rule that comes into effect in the second half of the season, and I thought I was being clever, didn't I? I thought it was a rule that had gone unnoticed, and only I knew it. So apologies
he's a
for
booking
that.
away. So for me, I'm going to avoid Costa and just keep getting punished, because I think he's going to pick up a booking, and I'm going to have to start rejigging the team. Hazard's the obvious one. His quality is pure, and he's making everything tick in that Chelsea midfield. So there's a bandwagon. I'm also tipping another Chelsea player, Alonso. Clean sheet potential, also getting on the end of a few assists and getting forward quite a lot. I think that's a definite option as you look to maybe have a power midfield and power defender in your team. Sticking my neck out again, Bournemouth at home to Sunderland. You have to go, anyone playing Sunderland, you have to have a little option. Wilson. Cliff was slagging him off air. I won't have a bad word said about him. He is going to score a goal this week. I'm also going to back my own player this week, Benteke. He's going to score against Burnley, and I'm going to be rewarded for my faith in him. So he's another side tip. City game, there's not just Aguero. I think Gundogan. Am I saying that right? I
think so, yeah. No, I think you've done a good job there, yeah.
Because I've been calling him Godongan for a long time. But Gundogan, I think people are jumping on that bandwagon, justifiably so. I looked at him at a wild card and did some research on him. Wasn't a massive goal scorer at Dortmund, but he is in a more attacking City side, so potentially it could be worth putting him in. But the real quality there is KDB, and I think he's the one in Man City that you definitely would like to get in your team, as well as Aguero. Final ones, I'm coming to a close. Ozil showing his quality again, a player I can't help admiring. Potentially there's room for him in your team. Along with the Liverpool trio, you've got to have one. Coutinho, Firmino or Mane. Side tips out.
Okay, and we'll be back straight after this.
You're listening to the all-new FantasyFootballTips.co podcast. In partnership with PremierPunt.com, the home of fantasy football betting.
Okay, and we're back with some breaking news from Cliff.
He sat down.
I am sitting down, and I've managed to fix the technical fault. Quigliano's no longer echoing in my ear. I just have to unlock the phone during the call. So that's all the breaking news.
Okay.
I hope it was worth the wait.
Wow.
I mean,
Well, should we end the podcast there, shall we, with that? Or
End on a
should.
high.
I mean,
End on a high.
What a tip! What a tip! Anyone making a Skype call? Good set of side tips there, Quigliano. I'm quite excited by that. I think the thing that shone for me last week was the fact that so many of the top players performed. The one that was perhaps disappointing for most was Theo Walcott. Is he? Are we thinking he's likely to be back this week? And if so, is he one to keep? And I think the other question there is Olivier Giroud.
yeah, I mean that's somebody I've missed off there. I have missed off a side tip. It's probably because I've already put him on my team and didn't want anyone else to do that. But yeah, I think Giroud's a massive option. I think it also makes Sanchez's life easier when Giroud's in the team.
Yeah, agree with that. And that North London derby, is that a game to avoid or is it one to be excited about? You know, Spurs with that rock solid defence so far this season, but anything can happen in North London derby.
It's an avoid for me. I won't be looking there for any captain shouts. I've got a couple of players from each of those teams, but I'll just pray that something happens. But I see that being low scoring.
Okay, right. I'm going to come to some questions then, gents. Simple one from FPL Booster. He confused us last week with his His
Mate,
abbreviations.
I messaged you about that. It was sell or.
Well, someone tweeted and said it was Olivier Giroud. A YouTube comment said it was Olivier Giroud or Son. OG or Son. So,
he's talking about midfielder and striker.
I think it's all. I think it's all now I've looked at it.
There you go. Had I been on air, I would have been able to put this one to bed. But
okay, well, it's a simple one this week. He simply says Wilshire punt ?
Again, is that a typo? I mean, he could be trolling Wilshire there. I'm not sure, but not for me. Not for me. Cliff?
I like the Wilshire punt. Definitely with the fixture that he's got this week. I think Wilshire is starting to play more games. I think he could be one of your cheaper midfields in your team, yeah.
Okay, I mean, he's done very little up to now, has he? I think that's the problem. Okay, I think that pretty much answers it. The answer is no, we're going to ignore Cliff. And this one comes from Ash.
Wait there, sorry. A bit more justification. You can have either of Gudongan or Gundogan. You can have either of those players. They are the same player. Just a little joke there. For the same price. He's 5.5, isn't he? And Gundogan, I think he's 5.6 now with his rise.
Yeah.
You know, why would you go for Wilshire when you've got that? Obviously, they've got Sunderland, so the fixture's nice, but Man City, Middlesbrough's probably better. And I'd probably have a City player in there ahead of Wilshire. So there you go, mate. There's also Joe Allen if you want to be going along that lines.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Allen is just going from strength to strength. He looks so good. And actually, he's pushed him up now, hasn't he? He's playing that number 10 position, which he wasn't doing at the start of the season, and it seems to be paying dividends. So, and Stoke have got West Ham this week, who have had a bit of a revival, but they weren't great against... Well, they conceded 2, didn't they, at Everton last week? So, possible. Stoke on a good run there. Anyway, back to the questions. Ash is asking, if you had to pick... I think we've already answered this, actually. If you had to pick between Costa and Hazard, who would you choose and why? Quigliano, we've already had your answer. It would be Hazard, based on the booking. Cliff, same opinion, or do you have a different opinion on that?
No, definitely the same opinion. Hazard looks dangerous again, doesn't he, this season? So definitely I'd put Hazard in.
Okay, nice and simple. Let's move on. A couple of tweets from our old favourite Sushant. I don't think we have a show where we don't mention him. He's been back with another GIF. And he's asking, have you dropped the feature God and JP Gut It Out? I don't know if we ever started it properly, did we?
Well, JP's gone walkabout, hasn't he?
Where is JP?
Call him out, Cliff. New dealia.
Yeah, I mean, that should be the dealia, really, JP. Can we get that hashtag going? Do you think we can get that trending? Where is JP? Might get him to creep out of the woodwork.
Are we spelling JP Jaypea?
He's obviously listened to the pod since, because he spelt it JP this week, as in just the letters rather than Jaypea.
We have still got an artist impression from FPL Junior, so we can put that one up on some local lampposts, and that'll be able to generate a bit of interest there.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Susan, then just to go on, he's tweeted us again today. I mean, how he's a listener of this show, I don't know, but I'm just going to read it to you. Already did a -8 by getting Francis, Gundo and Hazard in for Bellerin, Antonio and Shaq. Should I go ahead and do a -12 Fuchs for Walker? I mean, is it even worth... I mean, if you took a -8, you may as well do the -12, I suppose.
The only thing I'm going to say there, I saw that tweet and I like it. I like the team that he's got. I like that midfield. It's near perfect. So I'm going to give him a pat on the back there. He's made a drastic decision. As long as that's the only minus points he takes all season, I'll forgive him. And I think he needs to keep it at -8. Walker's a better option than Fuchs in the long run.
Okay. I like the way you had to really check your pronunciation there, Quigliano. I was concerned earlier when Cliff was talking about the Wilshire punt, because I know what he's like. But last one, this one's coming on the email, and this is from Joe. And he wants to know. He said, first of all, he said, hello all, don't worry if you're too busy. I'm just chancing my arm here with some advice, please. Just listen to this team. So goalkeepers, Jakupovic and Foster. Defence, Valencia, Zaniga, Walker, Friend, Amat. Midfield, Sanchez, Capoue, Coutinho, Lallana, Snodgrass. Forwards, Austin, Aguero and Costa. He's got 1.2 mil in the bank. He's got a wild card to use, and he wants to know if it's wise to use that wild card. He's got a free transfer for this game week if needed. Thoughts on that team? I quite like that team, particularly the attacking options there. He's got Sanchez, Coutinho, and Lallana. He's got Austin, Aguero, Costa.
Who was his other midfielder?
Capoue and Snodgrass.
I mean, I'd be looking to get rid of Lallana personally. I think he's doubling up in Liverpool in the wrong spots there. That needs to be invested elsewhere. What's Lallana, about 7 million?
Yeah, and he's got 1.2 in the bank. So is it?
That could be Ericsson, Dele Alli, get a bit of coverage at Spurs.
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe not for this fixture, but long term. Keep that wild card. Keep that wild card for me. Plus, we've got the international break after this, so you might want to invest it then.
I mean, he goes on to say, I'm a premium member and your tips are working really well at the moment, as I'm first in one mini league and 8th in another. I just feel a good shake-up is needed, so a possible wild card, what would you recommend? Anyway, keep up the good work. Love the podcast. Regards, Joe. Thanks for the kind words, Joe. He seems like he just wants that shake-up. Like, he's doing well, and he almost wants to ruin it when it's actually going pretty well. So, Cliff, use the wild card or no for you?
No, I like the team. When you was reading out the team, I was nodding my head all the way through. I think it's a good team.
And were you stood up or sat down?
I was sat down, but I agree with Quigliano. I think Lallana's probably the one I'd be looking to sub out and get some coverage in other teams.
Okay, so that's 3 no wild cards from the team here, Joe. So keep that wild card in your pocket. Gents, it's been a pleasure on the Standard Podcast this week. Just a word on our sponsors before we go. I was quite impressed this week. Premier Punt. You can go to them at premierpunt.com, of course. They sponsor West Ham. They're the gambling. I'm not sure what they are, but they sponsor Southampton, actually, not West Ham. So I've got that completely wrong.
Cliff, have you infected Mills there? Because he has
me.
literally turned to a gibbering rep. Do you want a minute to think about what you're going to say?
I'm glad he researched what he was going to say to finish the podcast.
And thank God there are sponsors, and he's really done them justice. I can see why they've decided to invest in Mills as the front man.
The thing is, strangely enough, I do know absolutely everything that's going on, and I don't know what words were coming out of my mouth. It was really bizarre, that was. Anyway, they're sponsoring Southampton, and
who's West Ham just?
Maybe that's the next one. They are sponsoring Southampton. And it was great to see the boys out on the pitch at the weekend. So if you did watch the game on TV, you would have seen the owners and the sponsors out on the pitch there.
What if they don't know what Premier Punt is, mate? You're not going to tell them?
It's daily fantasy football betting. It's pretty much, it's like FPL. You can win real money. You can go against your mates, or you can go against complete strangers, and it's good fun. So head on over to premierpunt.com if you've not checked that out before. We are going to be back with Podcast Extra in a second. For you cheapies, we'll say au revoir.
It's time to go deep. It's time for the Podcast Extra.